Yellowstone National Park. Expectations were high, and after visiting Grand Teton National Park, the bar was also set high. Many of the parks I had visited had been from the vantage point of a motorcyclist riding through and not a hiker. My introduction to Yellowstone began with me queuing at the mosquito-infested south entrance, in a line the length of a mile or more of parked cars. In retrospect, Yellowstone for me was just a checklist item. Now, I do have to say that Yellowstone has a lot to offer. The geysers, the sulfur-smelling hot springs, roaming bison, waterfalls, and I'm sure lots of campgrounds and trails worth checking out. However, this place for me turned out to be the Disneyland of national parks. Traffic and funneling of tourists throughout the park, not to mention the overpriced bad food and souvenir shops in the villages, was a contrast to what I had experienced in other national parks. I took a picture and some video at Old Faithful, which summed up my experience of the park perfectly. It was a perfect arc of people stretching around the circumference of the geyser. In each hand was a smartphone pointed at the geyser. You could tell everyone's arms were getting tired waiting for the big moment. Some kids were expressing their impatience. Finally, the geyser erupted following a big ooh and ah. Everyone's arm retracted, and briefly they reviewed what was captured. They had got what they came for. The herd of people, somewhat deflated, uniformly moved in the direction of the lodge and cafeteria for a much-needed bathroom break. Check. Been there, done that. It was overcrowded. There were tons of slow-moving traffic. People would stop in the middle of the road to take a picture of some wildlife sighting. Frankly, it wasn't worth it. It's not for motorcyclists. I guess that's enough griping. It was an experience. I did see Old Faithful. I was on the bike. I met a Swede and a Kiwi on motorcycles traveling North America. Now the ride out of Yellowstone National Park east and then to Cody, Wyoming was a great ride. The night in Cody was a good enough stop. An interesting downtown, and Buffalo Bill Cody's image was everywhere. Pretty cool, plus people were wearing cowboy hats. There were not too many choices of where to stay that late in the day east of Yellowstone. Staying in Cody was worth it. Live outdoor music, beer, burger, and a nice walk into town made for a great evening. Today was a glorious riding day filled with breathtaking views. I started the day taking back roads out of Cody, Wyoming, on my way to Bighorn Canyon National Recreation Area to see Devil's Canyon. This would be a brief stop in Montana before coming back to Wyoming and heading east towards South Dakota. There were no cars to speak of, and I felt the serenity of the ride. It was so peaceful. I felt especially aware of what was going on around me. It really was an orchestra of activity, of life happening right in those moments. There were wild horses running in the field playing. Some of the grazing cows paused as I rode by on the bike, their heads tracking the motorcycle down the road. Birds were darting in and out in front of the motorcycle as if to tell me to slow down and check things out. The sky was crystal blue, and the mountain range filled the landscape with shades of brown and speckled red rock. The air smelt of perfumes and flowed through my motorcycle jacket, keeping me cool. The rhythm of the ride and the beat of all the life around me was yet another joyful moment in an instance, feeling everything at once. Some people call it a moment of grace, of pure joy, of bliss. Whatever label you choose, I've had that feeling many times on this trip. It was a moment when all you feel is joyful and blissful, a rush of gratitude and an emotion of bliss, beatific and beautiful. Passing into Montana and Bighorn Canyon National Recreation Area, I stopped at Devil's Canyon. Outrageous and amazing views, and there were only a handful of people there, not much to speak of. It's one of those places that isn't a major tourist destination, but equals any travel stop in any of the national parks, a vast and beautiful expanse. The canyon and river below were another example of how diligently the planet had been working on creating such epic beauty. It was a great moment. Backtracking into Wyoming, I made my way to Lovell for lunch. I went to the Brandon Iron restaurant in town. I have to admit I felt a bit out of place in my BMW motorized vehicle. This was a working cattle town. Everyone seemed to know one another, and the entire town appeared to be there for lunch. I followed a great road out of town and into Bighorn National Forest. The elevation climbed quickly, and the road was challenging. The views were epic. There was a haze, but you could see Bighorn Basin. The road was lined with snowdrifts that hadn't melted yet. It was a peaceful yet desolate landscape that pulled me forward. Making my way to the other side of Bighorn National Forest, I followed the twisting road that dropped quickly in elevation. I was pushing east towards Devil's Tower, Sturgis, and Deadwood. That was the direction. I saw some seriously ominous clouds. They're the kind that look like they're ready to birth a tornado. I throttled on for 50 more miles to Gillette for the night. Day 37, 37 days on the road. It was a number. The journey didn't feel long, but my day-to-day was just a new normal for me. I was enjoying it, and I had my flow. There really wasn't a lot of time left to the journey. However, when I thought about the experiences I was having each and every day, I was sure there would still be plenty of time for some more adventures.